2026 Shriners Children's Hospital Clearwater Invitational. Welcome back to the sunny beaches of Clearwater, Florida for year 7 at the Eddie Seymour Softball Complex in Clearwater. An awesome field again this year, and today we get a treat. Top 25 showdown between Oklahoma State and LSU. Two of many elite teams in the field this year. 40 games in 4 days, the 7th year of this fantastic tournament, which has been a proving ground in recent years. Early in the season for teams that want to make a run to Oklahoma City. 10 preseason top 25 teams in our field this season. Hi again, everybody. Matt Schumacher alongside the All-American Amanda Scarborough. I can't believe we're back here. Feels like just yesterday we were here a year ago. And Amanda, as I mentioned, this really has been a proving ground in years past for teams that do want to get to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, this is hands down the best tournament in college softball, and we're so lucky that we get 4 days of super regional type field matchups, Women's College World Series type field matchups. I mean, buckle up. These next 4 days are going to be epic.
Fantastic field and a really intriguing game here today as we take a look at our impact players, brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater. Tori Edwards last year, fantastic for an LSU team that's trying to get over the hump. They've lost in the regional 3 out of the last 4 years.
Yeah, she was a freshman last year, and all she did was hit 18 home runs, 73 RBIs, and then Amanda Hassler, she had a 3-run home run against Georgia in their win earlier today, but also had double-digit home runs. So Edwards on one side with power and Hassler on the other with a great first name.
Ruby Malin in the circle again for the 2nd consecutive game. Oklahoma State already played today. She gave up 5 earned runs on 7 hits against Georgia, looking for a bounce back today against LSU.
They're going to go with their senior tough matchup, tough couple of games for Oklahoma State today, with having to face a ranked Georgia team and then turn around quick and play a ranked LSU team.
First pitch is a strike to Jayla Lassiter, leading things off for an LSU team that returns 7 starters from last year's group, which of course lost emotionally to Southeastern Louisiana twice in the Baton Rouge Regional. Did not make it out. And with so many of those returning players, Beth Torina told us a lot of changes were made, but there's a hunger this year in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, both teams already having played today. Oklahoma State got the win. They pulled out early against Georgia, and then Georgia fought back. They ended up winning that game 6-5 against the Dogs as they were trying to claw back in, even had a chance late in the game against Oklahoma State, but able to come back with the win. And then Nebraska dominated LSU earlier today. And Jordy Ball didn't even get the start. A little bit of a surprise. We thought we were going to see her in the circle, and she ended up coming in relief against LSU. But they got shut out against a very solid start Nebraska team.
Lassiter fly ball in the infield and caught by the first baseman, Carly Godwin.
And Ruby Malin, a senior, an All-American. She's had a very solid career, and you know that she wants more in her senior year. Last year was a bit of a disappointing season for Oklahoma State, who's used to hosting regionals. They were on the road, and Ruby Malin, being a senior, a hard thrower with a go-to of being her drop ball down in the zone. She's more confident in her rise ball this season, and we're going to use that changeup a little bit more. Not a consistent pitch for her and her career, but a must-have pitch if Oklahoma State and Ruby, who we like to think is going to be their ace alongside Riley Crandall, is going to go a long way this year. That changeup is going to be a necessity. We have Rosie Davis over at third base, too, for Oklahoma State, playing up the line. We saw her first couple of years at Oklahoma State playing at second base, but really versatile, athletic player, just playing right in the face of Sierra Daniels, just challenging her to hit it past her. I mean, she's well up the third base line. Daniels got a lot of experience last year, a great hitter for the Tigers. I'm sure she sees that and is thinking, I want to punch it through the left side as she swings and misses at that rise ball we talked about from Ruby. course, with 2 strikes, she'll move back a little bit, but still playing well off the line. Look at all that space to her right.
Oh, that catches the outside corner for Malin.
Well,
2 up, 2 down.
This is exactly the start that Ruby Malin wants to have after coming off of that tough relief outing where she gave up some runs. 2 up, 2 down, gets a call with the drop ball in the outside corner, right at the knees. Daniels takes that pitch, thinking it's a little too far outside, but that paints the corner, and the senior Ruby Malin loves it.
Low and outside to Allie Hutchins. Starting third baseman for LSU, who, as you referenced, was dominated by Nebraska. First loss of the year for the Tigers, lost 6-0. Struggled with runners on base, left 7 against Nebraska pitching. Could this be an opportunity for their offense to get going against an OSU pitching staff that has struggled at times to start the year? 11 runs allowed in the first inning last week in 5 games combined. Bouncing ball to short. Jones on to first, and a 1-2-3 first for Malin. No runs for LSU in this first inning. Back in Clearwater, Florida, 75 and sunny with a light breeze. A lot of teams in our field enjoying some warmth for really the first time this season. An opportunity to be outside all week long, and for LSU, an opportunity to bounce back after a 6-0 defeat to Nebraska. They will start the transfer from San Diego State, CC Salora.
Yeah, and Salora has a lot of experience coming over from San Diego State. She was their ace last year, 19 wins, just over a 2 ERA, giving up some runs. A little bit of a slow start last weekend, and I'm sure that she's excited to get the ball back here today and see if she can get back on track.
This is low and outside to JL Austin. Kenny Gajewski's team, 6 runs on 7 hits against Georgia today. First top 25 win of the season for Kenny G's Oklahoma State Cowgirls.
I think it was that plate discipline that led to such a great offensive game for them against Georgia. Put a lot of pressure on the Georgia pitchers. They drew those 7 walks, but just had really great plate discipline, something that Kenny felt like they did really well in the fall, but didn't quite see it happen as much opening weekend. But definitely a focus for the offense coming into the Clearwater Invitational was seeing that plate discipline happen game after game. So we'll see if they can take it into this game and have that discipline against LSU.
Austin's 5-game hit streak to start the year snapped in the win against Georgia. And interestingly, this week in our call with Kenny leading up to Clearwater, Amanda, he really spoke with such praise of the young players on his roster for outperforming maybe some of the expectations opening weekend for underclassmen, including JL Austin, a freshman, and said they've really set the tone. Now our veteran players need to meet that standard of performance.
And they lost some pretty big offensive players with Delgadillo to graduation, and Megan Bloodworth, who was in their lineup as a mainstay, especially defensively, but Michaela Wark and Talon Edwards, who transferred to Texas A&M. So a lot of freshmen getting some looks. And Austin did indeed have that great weekend. I mean, how exciting would that be to have your opening weekend and you've been waiting to get to college, to have a chance to play, and then opening weekend, you just have a tremendous weekend, not showing any nerve. She had 2 home runs, had 7 RBIs. Such a big deal. Oftentimes freshmen this early in the year, it just takes them a while to get settled. And of course, you've been watching softball on TV, you've been putting pressure on yourself, waiting for this day through the fall and the 4 weeks of grind of practice in January before games start. So JL Austin, a leadoff hitter now for Oklahoma State as a freshman. That's a big deal.
Fouls off the 8th pitch of this at bat against CC Salora. who last year was first team All Mountain West. Helped San Diego State win a pair of Mountain West tournament championships. Has pitched in big games all throughout her career. Getting a good battle here from JL Austin.
Yeah, look at this. It's going to be a 10-pitch at bat. Those quality at bats that started against Georgia, and a freshman setting the tone here to do it again in their second game of the day.
Getting a lot of pitches thrown her way for Tia Warsup, who's on deck. And the rest of this Oklahoma State offense that looked really good for stretches against Georgia. They scored runs in 4 separate innings. And a walk on 12 pitches by JL Austin.
The next batter is right fielder, Tia Warsup.
And we welcome those of you who just watched Texas Tech's dramatic win on ESPN2. Matt Schumacher, the All-American, Amanda Scarborough with you. Bottom of the first, nobody out, no score between Oklahoma State and LSU. State coming off their first top 25 win of the season against Georgia just earlier on this afternoon. While LSU, Amanda, trying to bounce back from their first loss of the season, falling to Nebraska.
Yeah, this tournament is always so fun, Matt, because even though there isn't a championship game, a true winner that gets to hoist a trophy on Sunday, when you leave here, there are definite winners and losers of this tournament. When you look at teams that gain massive momentum, some teams end up going undefeated. I mean, you could call them the champs of the tournament, which is a very difficult tournament to go undefeated in because of the high quality of play. And then there are some teams who come here who really struggle to maybe even get a win.
Oh, speaking of winners and losers, Oklahoma State, absolutely a winner last year. And when you look at their record against some of the elite competition, Oklahoma State's 4-1 against the SEC here at Clearwater since the start of last year. Lone loss, of course, was last tournament against Auburn. It was a big opportunity for Oklahoma State in particular, a team that, as you mentioned, didn't quite have the season last year that they anticipated having. Some disappointment coming into this year. LSU turns 2 to get out of the first inning. A slick double play ball.
We have seen double plays already all day long on field 9. Add another one. It is the turn, though, by Sierra Daniels. That was so fast. It was in and out of her glove quickly.
For the 7th annual St. Pete Clearwater Invitational. Matt Schumacher, Amanda Scarborough with you on field 9. Games going on all networks all weekend long as Tori Edwards, last year's SEC Freshman of the Year, swings and misses.
Now, the amount of power that Tori Edwards possesses, I mean, she has to be one of the strongest players in the country. Just a sophomore, but had that 18 home runs, 73 RBIs last year as a freshman, one of the best freshman seasons across the country, best ever at LSU.
Broke weight room records last year as a freshman, nonetheless. Beth Torina said she'd never been around a player like her, Amanda, with the speed and the power combination and the athleticism to match. Generational talent.
Has to be. And she has the speed, too, to go along with it. I mean, I think that that's such an impressive part of her game. Opening weekend, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases in a weekend for your #1 power hitter on the team that can hit it about 300 feet. Just impressive athlete. Can hit it so far. Like, if you've been to Baton Rouge at LSU Stadium, Tori Edwards has hit it like out of the entire park. So not just like the fence, like out of the entire park, where Beth Torina said that the ball is rolling in the parking lot behind left field onto the soccer, or close to the soccer field.
Takes the 3-2 to deep left field. Headed towards the wall and on cue. Off the bus and gone to give LSU the early lead.
Solo home run for Tori Edwards.
There's a Nebraska fan that got the ball, and Nebraska's feeling good because they struck out Tori Edwards 2 times in the game earlier today. They had her number, so you know Tori Edwards, after that 0 for game, had a walk, but 2 strikeouts. She is looking to hit early in this game, and this is the type of power that she has. My goodness, look at it. It hit the bus right out in left field. She is so strong. It's LSU on the board first.
She heard you up here. The FloridaTours.com boss just got crushed. Tori Edwards hit a lot of those last year. You mentioned the 18 home runs, now already 3 this year. It was an off-the-charts season for somebody who was certainly in the running for National Freshman of the Year, as Macy Bajaran records the first out of the inning.
After getting shut out by Nebraska earlier today, LSU, you know, wanted to come into this game and score first. Quiet first inning, 3 up, 3 down. And then Tori Edwards, their leader, just a sophomore, but one of the captains on this LSU team, just comes up and gets them on the board first with a statement swing.
Char Lawrence, senior transfer, digs in with 1 down. And you and I had LSU a couple of times last year, of course, including in the regional. And it was obvious last year, particularly, Amanda, that this team's identity was offense. They've changed a lot after the way last season ended, but certainly offense still remains a big piece to the puzzle for Beth Torina. And, of course, her 3rd-year hitting coach, Bryce Neal, who has infused new energy seemingly into this program over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, hit 34 home runs last season, but I have a feeling with new added power, they really worked the transfer portal to bring some athletic and powerful players into this LSU program. Big focus to just bring in some new blood, and I have a feeling that this team is going to hit more than 34 home runs this year. I mean, think about that. They hit 34 home runs, and Tori Edwards had 18 of them. So a lot of power centered just around one player in their lineup, but looking to spread out that power throughout and not just make her the only target, as Ruby Malin gets a strikeout on a drop ball. Coming back quick after giving up that home run to get Bajaran out, and then Loren striking out on a drop ball. This drop ball, too, just falls off the table, starts at the knees, and then ends up at the shoelaces. And Loren swings and misses over the top.
Second strikeout for Malin, 2 down in a 1-0 ball game, led by LSU. Alex Franklin at the plate. Looks at a ball low. You mentioned the power numbers, 34 home runs, not necessarily eye-popping, but they had the highest batting average and on-base percentage in program history last year. And they, as we mentioned, Amanda, returned so much from last year. The natural inclination would be to assume that there's going to be a progression with some of those numbers for a number of these young ladies.
Three offensive weapons that they brought in with Kylie Edwards and Allie Hutchins. Both of those players, by the way, SEC experience that they bring in, which you know Beth Torina loves, and that SEC experience, especially when it comes conference play, is invaluable. But also Char Lorenz, as you mentioned, from Louisville, and then a couple of pitchers. So really working the transfer portal with 5 players that have all seen action early on this season and will be big parts of their program.
Hitters count to the sophomore Franklin, a three-time Louisiana state champion. Looks at strike 2.
And Ruby's throwing that changeup a little bit more. Not a pitch that she threw a ton, a pitch that she's just continuing to develop confidence in, but didn't throw it a ton last weekend, and you can tell is making it a point to already throw it more this weekend here, and she's going to need it. Been looking good the times that she's worked it in there.
Gets her 3rd strikeout of the game, ending the 2nd inning, but not before Tori Edwards could put LSU on the board.
It's a statement every time the ball comes off her bat. I mean, I think it's an even bigger statement when it's hit bus, right? But LSU on top, 1-0 because of the solo shot by Edwards.
Tori Edwards puts LSU on the board first as we enter the bottom of the 2nd here in Clearwater. Top 25 showdown between the Tigers and the Oklahoma State Cowgirls as we take a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Shriners Children's.
Well, I don't know who made these, but LSU already knocked off their first key to the game by scoring first after getting shut out by Nebraska and losing 6-0. Then Oklahoma State, their key to the game is just to stay disciplined in the box. They had great quality at bats against Georgia in their opening game. LSU, their bats were slow against Nebraska, so for them to come out, get a run on the board first, break up that shutout early is huge.
Did you just say you didn't know who made those?
Yeah, no, I know exactly who made them. Yeah, no, I know. I typed that in before this game that LSU needed to score first, and I guess maybe they were listening to me, or they had no idea that I had sent that in, which is more likely the case.
That's why you're the best. LSU playing with a lead first time in this tournament. Lost 6-0 to Nebraska earlier on today. Taking on a very dangerous hitter in Amanda Hassler. 3-run bomb earlier this afternoon against Georgia to left center field. Came in the 5th inning, which really broke the game open at that time for Oklahoma State. They were up 6-0 before Georgia climbed back in it, ultimately lost by 1.
3-run home run off of the lefty with the bat flip too. You see that right there? Kind of reminiscent of Samantha Shao, who played at Oklahoma State when they made that Women's College World Series run with her at the plate and in the circle. But you know, Amanda Hassler had those 16 home runs last season, and she had a little bit of a slow start last year. So I'm sure that they're stoked to see her already hit a home run, have some quality at bats early on this season. Would like to see her get going earlier in the season. As the second half of the season, she really took off for them.
Went 4 straight games with a home run at one point last year. Began her career at North Carolina State. Ground ball off the glove of Kylie Edwards at shortstop. And Hassler is aboard to start the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Yeah, Kylie Edwards, remember, she was a shortstop at Mississippi State last year, and she's played a lot of games at that position. She ended up entering into the transfer portal, and then LSU, a huge pickup to get her. Her bat started to come alive, and then they have Allie Hutchins, another new face over at third base. So the left side of the infield, transfer portals from transfers from within the SEC for LSU.
Pop up off the bat of Wilkeson. And caught by Solora, first out of the inning.
They also had Avery Hodge, who played shortstop at LSU last year. So that's the thing about this LSU team, Matt. They have a lot of options, a lot of versatility. They can put multiple different people in multiple different positions. And I think there was some competition at the shortstop position, specifically between Kylie Edwards and Avery Hodge, who played there last year.
Had 3 errors in the loss to Nebraska earlier on today. 5 of those 6 runs that they allowed to the Huskers unearned. And that ball is just foul. Boy, it looked left of the line to me. But our first base umpire, Phil Friels, called it foul almost immediately.
I thought that this was so fair, but I think it was a good call. When it was live, I mean, I think that it looked like a fair ball. And there is no video replay review, no challenges here at the tournament. So keep that in mind as a fan this weekend. It's early in the year for umpires, too, and I think that they're doing a great job early on.
Hey, Phil Friels is on the ball. Ball 1 to Rosie Davis. One of a handful of core returners this year for Oklahoma State. We talked earlier in the game about LSU, the disappointing season that they had last year, losing in the Baton Rouge Regional. For Oklahoma State, this is a team that had been to 4 consecutive Women's College World Series until last season. Sort of an emotional roller coaster for Kenny Gajewski and his club in his 10th year at the helm last year. Like LSU, looked internally in the offseason, made some changes. Ball in the dirt, runner goes and is safe on a ball cut off by Sierra Daniel. Hassler with a stolen bag.
It's a good job by Hassler seeing that ball in the dirt and taking off. She didn't wait to see what else was going to happen. She recognized that that changeup was in the dirt and headed to second base easily. Take an extra 60 feet.
Tying run in scoring position and a 3-1 count to Davis. Up the middle into center, and it is caught by Jayla Lassiter for the second out.
The next batter is the catcher, Audrey Schneidmiller.
You had mentioned, Matt, both of these teams kind of feeling like they needed a reset after last year. In fact, Kenny Gajewski had told Softball America in their season preview, that's exactly what we needed. He said, all the winning is new to me as a head coach. I'm learning how to be a head coach. I don't have 20 to 25 years of experience.
Nice play at shortstop by Kylie Edwards after the error to start the inning. A 1-0 lead for LSU after 2 in Clearwater. You know who got the save?
Nyjah Kennedy.
Nyjah Kennedy.
She did not start that game, came in late. 1-run game, that was a close one. Florida State scored first, and then Texas Tech came back to win it.
Tech's schedule for the rest of the weekend here in Clearwater, starting with a signature top 10 win. We'll have them next here on Field 9 over on the Plus at 6 Eastern. But this is that was a huge game for Texas Tech for a lot of reasons, which we'll get into. But this weekend in general, big opportunity for Jerry Glasgow's team, who admittedly this year does not necessarily have the same robust strength of schedule that they felt they had last year. And he told us there's not much room for error this year for us if we do want to host the Super and get back to the Women's College World Series Champ Series like they did a season ago.
Yeah, I think that all eyes are on them. I mean, you think about it coming into this season, Matt, they were even preseason ranked #1 in some of the polls over Texas, who won the national championship last year and beat Texas Tech. So because of how they hit the transfer portal, bringing in a lot of star players, home run power, a pitcher in Caitlin Terry that had been at UCLA, and a lot of big names going over to Texas Tech. They got the nod in a couple of polls to be preseason #1, but all eyes seem to be on them because of what they did last year coming into this year.
Ruby Malin back in the circle for Oklahoma State. Has looked sharp aside from that home run given up to Tori Edwards. Last half inning became one of 7 active pitchers in Division I with at least 600 career strikeouts. Working on her 4th here and just misses. Leadoff walk for LSU. Well, Saturday at 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app, the Women's College Game Day crew will be at the Maravich Center in Baton Rouge to get you set for the biggest game of the night. Top 10 showdown between South Carolina and LSU. 8:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
That'd be a good one. I'm sure some people listening and watching this LSU softball team play will be watching that basketball game.
Two teams that have a legitimate case for not only making a Final Four, but winning a national championship. Meanwhile, bottom of the order here for LSU. Riley Johnson with a runner on and nobody out in the top of the third.
You can see early on that Ruby Malin trying to find the strike zone and trying to find that drop ball, where exactly to put it. That's her most used pitch, is their drop ball. She likes to throw right at the knees on both sides of the plate. And calling pitches is, you know, a little bit different for her this year, working with their pitching coach, Carrie Eberle, because of the fact that she has an improved rise ball, she has an improved changeup. So early on in the season, you're really trying to figure out what she can throw and wants to throw in certain counts.
And that got Johnson. So 2 on and nobody out to start the inning. Then LSU will turn the lineup over.
It's a tough couple of free passes to 8-9 in the lineup. Fired up Riley Johnson, taking that hit by pitch to turn over the order now to the leadoff hitter in Lassiter.
Top of the order for LSU was solid in the loss to Nebraska earlier today. Lassiter and Daniel combined to go 3 for 7. The rest of the order went 3 for 20. Oh, big opportunity for Lassiter to knock in another run here. Instead of bouncing ball to third, only play is at first, and they won't get it. Rosie Davis initially turned to tag Edwards, and by the time she fired it across the diamond, the speed of Lassiter beat out the throw, and the bases are loaded with nobody out.
Yeah, that's the thing about this LSU team. They run bases very well. They have speed, so they're to put pressure on defense to make decisions. And Kylie Edwards able to avoid the tag, and then because it took a couple of extra steps for Rosie Davis to attempt to tag Kylie Edwards, it created Jayla Lassiter also has speed to get down to first base. And Matt, we learned that about this LSU offense last year, the pride that they take in base running, something that you don't hear a lot about it from a ton of different programs. But their now third base coach, Sandra Moten, who was an LSU alumni, and Bryce Neal, they put so much emphasis on base running, specifically how fast you run from home to first. They're timing it every single time, making sure that you're hustling at practice, making sure that you're hustling in the games. And look at how that paid off for Jayla Lassiter to get down to first base safely, and Kylie Edwards to get into third base safely, avoiding the tag.
But Tarina said almost every hitter in the lineup can get from home to first in less than 3 seconds.
Could you
Lassiter is one of those.
You're a track star. Could you do that? What would be your time going to first base?
I guess it depends on what side of the box I'm swinging the stick from. I think if the left side, maybe. I don't know about right side.
Now pulled in infield now with the bases loaded, trying to get Sierra Daniels to say, all right, hit it through us, power up and hit it through us. Rosie Davis over at third base was playing in her first AB too.
Well, LSU had the bases loaded in the 7th against Nebraska with nobody out. Chance to chip away at that 6-0 deficit. Unable to come away with any runs.
Well, and both of these teams have new left sides of the infield. Left side of the infield in college softball is going to get a ton of balls hit to you. Rosie Davis making the move from second base over to third. LSU having 2 transfers playing their left side of the infield in this game. So that play that Rosie Davis was put in the middle of, that's new to her. She's been playing second base for her first 2 years at Oklahoma State, but finds herself in a force out over at third base. It's kind of a tricky position with where she fielded that ground ball. That's what these preseason games are all about, is just getting the reps in, getting the experience and the decision making so you're ready for conference play.
1-2 misses high and away to Daniel. Nowhere to put her with the bases loaded and nobody out. A 1-run lead for LSU. That Tarina told us they couldn't get Sierra Daniel out in the preseason. has added depth to her game. Coming off a year in which she was uber improved at the plate. Hit .381 with 19 runs batted in. Payoff from Malin. Daniel to the right side and finds the outfield grass. 1 run will score. LSU holding Johnson at third base. It's a 2-0 lead for the Tigers.
It's making something of that, generating runs in this inning. A couple of leadoff walks to start the inning, then ended up loading the bases with Lassiter, and then Daniel going to her slap, putting the ball on the ground through that 3-4 hole. Exactly what she wanted to do with a pinched-in infield with the bases loaded, giving LSU another run.
And now the Kentucky transfer, Allie Hutchins. Up the middle, Malin to home, and it gets over the glove of Audrey Schneidmiller. Another run is in, and still no outs in the inning for Oklahoma State.
That's tough because that had double play written all over it, even with the speed that LSU has. And you know that you have to be quick to make this play because they're running hard base to base, but that just is an absolute mistake for Malin. You know, she's kicking herself knowing that now she's going to have to throw more pitches in this inning. Some free passes in this inning with the walk, hit by pitch, error, and a ground ball that didn't get any outs. That was DeRosie Davis.
And now one of the most dangerous hitters in the country with nowhere to put her and nobody out. Tori Edwards, who homered in her first at bat of the game. You pitched. How much goes through your mind when you've got an easy throw like that, but a runner bearing down to home plate from third?
Just a lot that goes through your mind about that error, but a lot goes through your mind the fact that you now have to pitch to this hitter who already hit a home run off of you. You have nowhere to put her in this situation. The bases are loaded. You're well aware what she did her last at bat, and now you have to pitch to her. I mean,
how would you pitch her?
Not staying in one place too long, and you have to change speeds against her. She finds herself now in a hitter's count. Ruby Malin already thrown 51 pitches in this game, just trying to be really careful. I would just live on the corners, try to work that drop ball at the knees.
Four grand slams last year for Tori Edwards, an LSU record. And by the way, she was just a freshman a season ago. One of those talents that doesn't come along very often. A captain this year as a sophomore. And already action in the Oklahoma State bullpen. Ruby Malin hanging on by a thread here in the top of the third. Bases loaded in a 3-1 count. Up the middle, and Edwards delivers. Throw comes home, and it's not in time. A 2-run single as both runners advance on the cutoff.
She can just beat you in so many different ways. She is not just a home run hitter, but the ball flies off of her back, gets her barrel to that inside drop ball, and just punishes it right back up the middle of the field for a couple more RBIs in this game. Pinched in infield gives her even more room to get that ball through and score 2 runs for LSU to extend their lead. I love the LSU at bats here, just taking advantage of a couple of free passes and the 8 and 9 hitters in this inning, just put more runs on the board. Ruby Malin's already thrown over 100 pitches today. She had come in relief against Georgia, gave up some runs, and had thrown 28 pitches in the first 2 innings, and now a 27-pitch third inning that she finds herself still in the middle of with no outs.
2 in scoring position for Macy Bergeron, who's numbers to start the year not reflective of how dangerous she is.
But look, that rise ball that Ruby Malin just threw, that serves as these little wins in a tough inning that you're just trying to get your confidence back on. Finds herself in an 0-2 count on her maybe second best pitch in her toolbox. Went to that rise ball, but those are the little wins as a pitcher early on in season when maybe you are giving up more runs than you're used to or than you want to, that you have to try to build confidence through that swing and miss on her rise ball. I'd like to see her go right back to that rise ball up and in on the hands of Bergeron. Or go to her changeup. That doesn't get the call, but another good option there. She's had a couple of pitches as well in this inning that have not gone her way to make this an even tougher inning. Changeup on the outside corner, doesn't get the call. Looked like that was a pitch that truly could have gone either way.
A changeup was a major point of emphasis for Ruby Malin in the offseason, the two-time second-team All-American. On the ropes here, Bergeron drove in 49 runs last year, has 2 in scoring position. At third, it's Davis in a sling across the diamond, and finally the first out of the third for Ruby Malin.
Yeah, and if I'm Ruby Malin and Carrie Epperly, I think I'm going to want to go to her rise ball and to her changeup a little bit more. Her changeup has actually been very effective, but in this inning early on, she went away from it. She threw it really well in the first couple of innings, but seems like LSU is looking for something down with that drop ball, the pitch that Ruby likes to go to the most. But I'd go to more of that rise ball and mix in that changeup and challenge herself to see if she can make that work here to get out of the inning.
Misses outside to Char Lorenz. Tighter strike zone than maybe Ruby Malin would hope for.
Especially go to her rise a little bit more, knowing that that drop ball at times when she spots up a good pitch like that is not getting the call.
Lorenz, left side, it's Davis again. Looks the runner back to the bag at third, 2 outs.
The next batter is a right fielder, Alex Franklin.
And now the 9th LSU batter to come to the plate in this half inning. Alex Franklin with 2 outs and still 2 in scoring position. A 4-run third here for LSU.
I bet Tarina talks about this LSU offense with Bryce Neal as their hitting coach and just having a team-first scoring mentality. Base to base like you've seen them do, draw their walks. They had a crazy amount of walks last weekend, opening weekend, 39 walks to just 21 strikeouts. That walk to strikeout ratio is exactly what you want to see as a hitting coach. And this team has speed. They stole 19 bases.
And last year, Amanda, remember they had 258 walks going into regionals. That was second in the country behind only Ohio State. Franklin, though, goes down looking. Malin's 4th strikeout. However, Tori Edwards strikes again, driving in 2 in this half inning.
Type of player that has a chance to be a 4-time All-American when it's all said and done. Tori Edwards, 2 strikeouts in the game against Nebraska, but 3 RBIs already today.
We'll see 2 top 10 teams. Number 1, Texas Tech, Nyjah Kennedy. Number 8, Nebraska, and Jordy Fromm, formerly Jordy Ball, of course. So many great seniors, not just in this tournament, Amanda, but nationwide, leading their teams again this year. And certainly Nyjah Kennedy's got to be the headliner of that group, trying to take Texas Tech to where they've never been, and that's winning the national championship.
Really hard to pick a headliner when you have this group of seniors. This senior class, the senior pitching is just top-notch and definitely going to be a theme that we're talking about all year. We have a senior pitcher in this game with Ruby Malin for Oklahoma State, but of course, you look at that matchup, the doubleheader that we have a chance to see Jordy Ball and Nyjah Kennedy pitch against each other prime time on Sunday night, followed by getting a chance to see the third of the big 3 pitchers, Carlin Pickens, pitch for Tennessee against a great Florida State program.
Meanwhile, CC Salora has her first strikeout of the day. One gone in the third for the San Diego State transfer.
Now she's going to be down, down, down in the zone against these hitters. Every time she steps into the circle, going to be working her drop ball on both sides of the plate. Big pickup for Beth Torina with the experience that CC Salora has. And she was at San Diego State. You love bringing in that experience into a young pitching staff that she joins.
Particularly replacing the two-time All-American Sydney Berzon, now at Oklahoma. Gabby Castillo, her first plate appearance of this game. Freshman batting in the 9 spot. Looks at strike 2.
One with CC Salora too. Beth Torina was calling her kind of like an old school pitcher in a sense of she can just pitch a lot. Like she had to throw 4 days in a row, put her team on her back to get them to the championship at San Diego State. But you don't see that very often anymore because we're so pitching by committee. But CC Salora, the type of pitcher that can take on a lot of innings if she has to. She's proven that in the past, and she brings that experience to this pitching staff with, of course, Jaden Heavner, probably being their lefty ace, was a freshman last year, enters her electric sophomore season.
You using that moniker old school reminds me of what Beth Torina told us, Amanda, which is that she feels like she's got a roster full of ball players, and CC Salora certainly fits that mold.
Yeah, there's not very much, I would say, fun in games, but they're having fun, but they're just having fun playing softball, not with doing any kind of like extracurriculars that maybe sometimes a head coach feels like she has to bring to the team just to get, you know, a different side of things outside of softball going. But this team, they are all softball all the time, no messing around, want to get down to business and do whatever it takes to win and learn and grow as a team together on the softball field. You know, 5 new pitchers on this LSU pitching staff. And a great core of their offense, but that 5 new pitchers with a couple of transfers and 3 freshman pitchers round out the staff.
2-2 to short, scooped up by Kylie Edwards. 2 down. Well, what an ABC doubleheader we have for you on Sunday afternoon on the hardwood. Toby Fournier and number 11 Duke hosting India Navarre and number 21 Carolina on the women's side, and then Texas and Tennessee rounding out the doubleheader, 3 p.m. Eastern, Sunday on ABC. Fly ball into left field, tracked by Char Lorenz in a 1-2-3 inning for Salora, who has set down 6 in a row for LSU. We'll talk to Beth Torina, their head coach, when we come back. You're watching the 2026 Shriners Children's Hospital Clearwater Invitational. Day 1 of this 4-day, 40-game tournament. We've got a top 25 showdown here on Field 9. 10th ranked LSU Tigers with a 5-0 lead over Oklahoma State. Beth Torina joins us. Coach, your team was blanked earlier today against Nebraska, a top 10 team. You got a chance to rectify it this afternoon against a top 25 team. What did you tell your group in between games?
Yeah, it wasn't the effort that we wanted this morning. Just wasn't who we want to be. We're still learning a ton about this group, and I think especially early on in the season, you know, we're trying to learn all the things about them, trying to get them to play together, trying to understand it. As much as we're pretty old, there's a lot of new in this system, so trying to learn it. But that wasn't the effort. That wasn't the LSU Tigers we want to be, so I'm happier with where we're at right now in this game.
Coach, you have 5 new pitchers that you're getting a chance to work with. What's it been like to learn them early on in season?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's been a really neat staff. Each one brings something completely different to the table, which is so fun to see. They all have their role. They're all really special, too, and I think in combination, they're really tough. So you're seeing a really nice performance today out of CC. She looks good so far, so hopefully she can keep it going.
Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
You know, Amanda, you asked her about working with new pitchers. That might have been part of the reason why she moved away from coaching third base, got back into the dugout able to give this new staff more of herself throughout the course of the game. One of a number of changes that Beth Torina has made this year after the way last season ended.
Yeah, definitely some newness with this LSU program. We're used to seeing Beth Torina over at third base. I think opening weekend last weekend was the first time in her career that she was not coaching over there at third base. I was watching an LSU game and I saw Sandy Moten over at third base. I'm like, wait, where's Beth Torina? Like, is she okay? Is she sick? Should I just turn on the game? Is she here? And nope, she's just in the dugout. And she said, I was nervous about it, but loved it. And she wanted to be in the hitting conversations with the hitter on deck or the hitter on the hole. And she gave actually Matt a number of different reasons that she liked being in the dugout, but ultimately a little bit nervous about how it was going to go, but it's starting to settle in.
Well, she joked with us. She said, I have no idea how to keep a lineup card. Do I square boxes? Do I circle boxes? And what do I say to a hitter who comes back into the dugout and walks right past me who just struck out? She's never dealt with that before.
These are the real things that coaches and players and just they're real people too, right? Like just trying to figure it out because she had never had that interaction before being over at third base, just watching them walk back into the dugout. Now she has to just go shoulder to shoulder with them when they get back into the dugout. It's different.
Off the end of the bat of Johnson, Malin up to first, 2 quick outs to start the 4th. Meanwhile, Nyjah Kennedy in the stands with her Texas Tech teammates signing autographs. Last year's National Pitcher of the Year. She will be on Field 9, 6 p.m. Eastern over on ESPN Plus, taking on Northwestern. Got the save earlier this afternoon against Florida State. This is the beauty of Clearwater. Everybody sort of just sticks around, very accessible to the crowd.
Of course, they have the game after this. So you can't go too far. You can't leave the park just yet. You got to park it somewhere and wait for this game to be done with so you can take the field. I mean, definitely one of the most popular players in college softball by far. The year that she had last year, remember she started at Stanford, transferred to Texas Tech, National Player of the Year, and made waves by going to Texas Tech, a program that frankly didn't have great softball history in its program history, and they changed that with investing in her and her NIL deal and really investing in NIL in general and building out this roster that leaned on the transfer portal in the offseason to become truly like a college all-star team with what they've put together, led by her in the circle.
Lassiter to second base, Castillo on the first, and a 1-2-3 inning for Ruby Malin. 5-0 deficit for Oklahoma State. We'll chat with Kenny Gajewski, their head coach, on the other side. You're watching the 2026 Shriners Children's Hospital Clearwater Invitational. Picture perfect afternoon, day 1 of a 4-day tournament here in Clearwater. 10 preseason top 25 teams in action, including a pair of them here. Oklahoma State down 5 to LSU. Kenny Gajewski joins us. Coach, you told us this week that there's a lot of newness with this team, still figuring out who you guys are. What are you learning through a game and a half of this tournament about your team?
Well, I'm learning that we still got a long way to go. I like what we've got, though. We've got a lot of good pieces here. We played really good defense until that third there where that was just kind of gross, and we'll get better than that. I mean, it all started, I just told Ruby, I said she's really thrown the ball well, except she gets a leadoff walk to the 8-hole, and then she hits the 9-hole, and that's what kind of got that thing going. And then we made some uncharacteristic plays. So we're learning a lot. We got to do a better job on offense here against this kid. She's throwing the ball well. We haven't got much going there. Yeah,
what do you think the key is to handle this drop ball that you're seeing from her?
You know, we got to do a better job of staying out of the air. We've hit a couple ground balls, but nothing hard enough yet. So we just got to square the ball up here. We've done a nice job of taking some close ones. Just got to make it happen. We still got 4 more tries at it here, and I think this team will make something go.
Coach, appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Certainly their offense looked really good against Georgia earlier on today. 6 runs on 7 hits, scored in 4 different innings. Today, in this particular game against UC Solora, though, they've managed to just get 2 base runners aboard. And Salora, the transfer from San Diego State, has retired 6 in a row, taking on Tia Warsup. The 2-hitter in this lineup. Diving play at short by Edwards. Spinning throw not in time. There's a ground ball base hit.
And Tia Warsup is a great player to have up when you need some runs. Kenny Gaske said, you know, good things happen when she's at the plate. And when her number got called last year, she never left the lineup. A player for them that was instrumental, just always finding different ways to contribute both defensively and offensively, and has speed now on the bases.
First hit of this game against CC Salora, who had walked the batter and allowed Amanda Hassler to reach on an error. Carly Godwin in the 3 spot at the plate with a runner aboard and a 5-0 deficit. Snap throw down to first. Bergeron a little bit tardy with the throw.
Yeah, last year they had missed the Women's College World Series. Oklahoma State had for the first time since 2018. I mean, this is an Oklahoma State program that we just started to pencil in to Oklahoma City because of their run and success getting it there.
And even though they had made it that many years in a row, Kenny still, going into last season, made changes to his staff, to the way that he prepared his team, because he felt like they let one get away, so to speak, at Oklahoma City, not making the Champ Series in 2024. Felt like they had the roster to do it. This year feels like he's got the roster to make another run at the Women's College World Series.
Yeah, and when he took over this Oklahoma State program, they weren't what you'd consider a winning program as of recent. I mean, it was him and the way that he coached. Remember, he was an assistant coach at Florida before he got his head coaching job here at Oklahoma State. And it just is like right away, boom, they started winning. Brought in transfers from the transfer portal that gave them instant success. A lot of pitchers that came to their program and had a lot of success. But last year, I mean, that was a tough year for them. And you know, he was disappointed with how last year ended. They lost in the regional. They didn't get to host a regional, which if you're a program like Oklahoma State or LSU, you're just almost assuming every year you're going to host a regional.
Godwin in the air to left field, headed towards the wall, and it's off the base. Warsup will stay put at third on a 2-out double by a no-out double by Carly Godwin.
She just has so much power. Carly Godwin, so strong. 15 home runs her freshman year, just 7. This one easily could have gone out. I thought it was going to off of her bat. Squares that up and then some, but ends up just hitting the bottom of the wall. Good enough for a double. It's exactly what Oklahoma State needed. Get their leadoff on. Extra base hit here. Now have 2 runners in scoring position, trying to cut into this lead with the middle of the order up.
Oklahoma State had just 2 base runners on in this game prior to this inning. 2 on and nobody out here for Amanda Hassler, who ripped a 3-run homer against Georgia earlier this afternoon.
You know, and the one cool thing about talking to Kenny, Matt, is that he's just always going to tell you how it is. He's just always going to be really honest. And he felt like last year, maybe they kind of cut some corners, let some things slip. Felt like maybe they got too comfortable with their winning ways, that they didn't just kind of have that reset.
Hassler is foul. Oh, I beg your pardon. It's a fair ball, and it drives in 2 runs.
Yeah, you see that Franklin out in right field is pointing, no, that was foul. Peyton Monticelli is over in the bullpen, got a really good look at it. It was right next to her. I thought this one was a foul ball, and it was. There's no video replay review. And because of the umpire shift, Phil Frears, who called one that was close down the right field line, is not going to make that call. It's going to be Scott Mayer, the home plate umpire, making the call, and he's the one that called it fair. And you see, this is umpire that was right down the first baseline at the first opportunity. He's pulled off the line, so this isn't going to be his call. It's Scott Mayer, the home plate umpire, called it a fair ball, but you could see clearly by a few inches it was a foul ball, but no opportunity to challenge that. And Oklahoma State's going to take that little bit of luck there and break up the shutout.
Next batter, left fielder Melina Wilkinson.
And a pinch runner now for Oklahoma State, sensing the opportunity here in the fourth. Nobody out. They've already driven in 2 runs. And you see Graff with Melina Wilkinson at the plate. And Beth Torina calls time.
Just a good time for either a timeout and or a pitching change here after the first 3 hitters are able to reach against Laura, taking some good swings off of her.
Well, a bevy of top 25 teams highlight our Big 12 SEC men's basketball doubleheader Saturday afternoon on the ESPN app and, of course, on ABC. Number 5 Iowa State hosting a top 10 Kansas team. Then the defending national champs hosting Kentucky, now into the top 25 after their season started a little bit shaky in Lexington. Tatum Clopton in the bullpen getting loose for LSU after CC Salora was unhittable over the first 3 innings. Did not allow a hit and has since given up 3 in a row to start this half inning. Bergeron again a little bit tardy with Graff over at first.
Bergeron caught the first game too. She just is, you talk about that old school mentality. Bergeron has it. Louisiana girl, just proud to be a part of this LSU program, and she caught the game earlier today. Going to catch 2 games today, and very well has a chance to catch all of the games for the weekend. But that's the type of just old school, hard-nosed, gritty player that she is for this LSU team, and still whipping the ball down to first base with a great arm trying to get the pick.
I remember us sitting down with her at regionals after you had her at the SEC tournament, and she was showing you all of her bruises as if they were badges of honor. Meanwhile, Salora with a strikeout, 1 down in the 4th.
The next batter, third baseman, Rosie
Paints this outside corner with their drop ball after that meeting with Beth Torina, and Bergeron frames it up. Look at her getting her glove low, getting around that pitch. A much needed out and a much needed strikeout to give Salora some confidence in this inning.
This is low to Rosie Davis. I mean, as a former pitcher, to have a 3-year starter behind the plate receiving your pitches, how much confidence does that give you in the circle?
Ton. I mean, your battery mate, your go-to girl.
Chance at a double play here, perhaps. Daniel turns it, and LSU gets out of the inning. Another double play turned by this Tigers defense.
Just watch Sierra Daniel. It is all her again, this quick turn. Touches the base, gets the ball out of her glove, fires to 1. Great stretch, too, by Edwards. She is such a good athlete.
Beautiful sights and sounds all weekend here in Clearwater. Cowgirls were down 5-0 entering the 4th, plated 2 on a string of 3 hits. And now a 3-run deficit as we head to the top of the 5th. Tori Edwards has been the star for LSU. 2 for 2 with a homer and 3 runs batted in. And she will bat 3rd in the 5th, with Sierra Daniel leading it off in the 2-hole.
And the rest of team is 1 for 15. Tori Edwards doing a lot of damage with those 3 RBIs. And how about that inning that Ruby Malin had in the 4th inning? She needed that after pitching through the lineup in the top of the 3rd inning, gave up 4 runs. Just Kenny Gajewski, his word, not mine, called it a gross inning. Had a quick 3 up, 3 down in the 4th, trying to build momentum off of that inning and go at these hitters here in the 5th.
Never shy to call it how it is. Kenny G. That's why we love him. That's why his players love him. There's a rawness to him. 2-1 from Malin is a strike. Already 4 strikeouts in this game for the 2-time second-team All-American, who was the ace of this Cowgirl staff last year. Wanting to capitalize on that momentum from last season this year and elevate her game. That one was ripped off of Malin, and it might have hit her cheek. Like trying to walk it off here, but time has been called by one of our umpires. She went and gripped her face immediately after that scorcher off the bat of Sierra Daniel. Boy, scary moment here for Oklahoma State. Kenny Gajewski out of the dugout.
I don't know, exactly what Ruby Malin herself is feeling right now, but having been a pitcher and having line drives hit back at you, hit me in multiple different spots, sometimes it's even just a little bit more scary than the pain that actually you feel right away. And maybe it's something that you feel more pain a little bit later. It looked like it hit off the bottom of her chin, but it's just really scary. I mean, you're 43 feet away when you start the pitch. That's college softball distance from the mound to home plate. And by the time that you let go of it, you're 37 feet away. I mean, Ruby Malin is 6 feet tall. She has a long stride. She's able to cut that distance down. So that reaction time is just so short. And mind you, you're releasing a pitch off balance, and then boom, a line drive is hit back at you. It can be a very scary thing, more mentally than what it actually is physically with how it feels.
All right, this is some toughness from the Oklahoma State star. Her 80th pitch. Took a line drive to the upper body. I mean, it looked like neck, shoulder, chin area, but here she is. A couple moments later, right back in it with an 0-1 count to Allie Hutchins.
Well, and sometimes too, Matt, it can be deceiving. It looks like it's coming off the bat harder than what it is, and your instinct is just to throw your glove up and just protect your face right away. And that one I don't even think was hit as hard as maybe what Ruby thought that it was coming off the bat, but you just see it coming. You see the swing path make contact with the ball, and you as a pitcher know that it's headed your way. So you just want to put your glove up right away. And then I think she was so quick to get her glove up that I think it didn't quite match up with the speed of the ball, or didn't quite get there in time. It just is so tough coming off the bat to defend yourself and ultimately just protect yourself.
Bouncing ball to third, chance at a double play, won't get it. The speed of Hutchins down the line. Well, Malin has a little bit of football in her background. In fact, she wears the number 66 in honor of her grandfather, who is a 2-time All-American guard for the Nebraska football team. Roped off the bat of Edwards, and they won't double up Daniel at first. But what a play. It's short by Aubrey Jones. 2 down in the inning for Ruby Malin.
And Aubrey Jones, look at where she's positioned up the middle of the field. She just basically plays catch with Tori Edwards off the bat. Remember, Tori Edwards had a hit up the middle of the field. Aubrey Jones, a freshman, positions herself back up the middle of the field, just well aligned defensively to get a really important out and a good hitter out.
First time they have gotten Edwards out in this game, and now two down for Bergeron. With a runner aboard, a 3-run lead for LSU in the top of the 5th. And a strike from Malin.
Can you imagine, too, what her parents were feeling when she got hit, or family members, I should say, when you're watching her play and then that happens, you see her walk out, you have no idea, did it hit her teeth, did it hit her eyes, did it hit her cheek, like what just happened? And for her to show her guts to stay out here and just continue to compete. You could tell she wanted to cry. You could tell probably there was a side of her that maybe wanted out for a hot second of like, all right, maybe I can just go into the dugout. But she and Kenny G had that conversation, was most likely about her staying in the game, and she wanted the ball.
Fly ball in the right field. Warsup towards the line, makes the catch. And so Malin pitches around a leadoff single and taking a ball off the upper body. Sets down the side. It is a monster matchup on the mat. Oklahoma, the only team in the country ranked in the top 5 in every event. Meanwhile, Ruby Malin, all smiles in the dugout, despite taking a ball off the neck and chin area the last half inning. Finished the inning, by the way.
And talking to her pitching coach, Carrie Epperly, looked like them just kind of reenacting what happened again and probably giving her a little bit of play-by-play to hear her side of the story and what she actually felt, went through, and got hit with, or got hit, or where she got hit, I should say.
Oklahoma State did not tally a hit in this game until the 4th inning. They strung 3 together, one of them controversial. Down the right field line off the bat of Amanda Hassler, drove in 2 runs and what looked like a foul ball. Allie Hutchins records the first out of the 5th for LSU.
It's a big out, knowing that Oklahoma State had a big 5th inning against Georgia where they had 4 hits and scored 3 runs in that game. It was in this inning, it was their 4th inning breakout. They scored a couple of runs to chip away at the 5-0 lead that LSU had.
One down for Jones.
And something that Oklahoma State really focused on in the fall was adjusting within at-bats. Kenny Gasky said he felt like opening weekend his team didn't really do that, but they set up a couple of machines and did it on the field routinely, set it up also on the indoor. Just a lot of these coaches, Matt, will use pitching machines to emulate great pitchers and attempt to make practices harder than what they're going to face in games, almost to the point of failure when you're facing these machines. The ball is moving so much, they're pumping up the velocity, they're just doing whatever it takes to make practice feel so hard and to be able to make the adjustments at practice to where you step in against another pitcher and it might feel a little bit easier than hitting off the machines.
Great play at third by Hutchins in a 1-2-3 5th for CC Solora. A 6-pitch inning for the San Diego State transfer. 3-run lead after 5 for LSU. In the field, we will have the #1 team in the country. Next, 6 Eastern on ESPN+. Texas Tech, who already picked up a win against Florida State today, taking on Northwestern out of the Big Ten. Big opportunity for Northwestern, a team who admittedly was probably the last team into the field last year. Didn't start 2025 the way they wanted. It was a slow burn. Wildcats had to win 2 games on the road at UCLA last year to get into the field, final week of the regular season. Boy, wouldn't it be something for the Wildcats to test Nyjah Kennedy and #1 Texas Tech.
They're definitely a team that everybody wants to beat this year, that's for sure. You wear that as a badge of honor, and that means that you had a lot of success last year. I remember making it as the national runners-up, and Jerry Glasgow was just going to be happy, the head coach of Texas Tech, to even make it to the Women's College World Series. Nevertheless, have a legit chance to win the national championship last year against Texas. They were in position to do so, but when that series went 3 games, and Texas won their first national championship.
2-1 to Char Lorenz. Malin fields that cleanly, flips to first, 1 down.
That's a big deal, by the way. Remember, she just got hit with a line drive. And the fact that she stays in there and fields her position on a ball hit back at her is worth mentioning. I mean, she did not shy away from that ground ball. She got hit with the line drive earlier. I mean, that, again, tells you about Ruby Malin and the type of player that she is.
Did you wear a mask when you were pitching?
I did not wear a mask, but it is a lot more common in today's day and age to wear a face mask. But you see Ruby Malin chooses not to wear it. I did not either, but you rarely saw them when I played back in the 90s. I'm just kidding. Early 2000s, but it feels like it was the 90s at this point.
Oh, 2 count to Alex Franklin, who wasn't even alive in the 90s.
True. Youngster.
Now that'll make you feel old quick. There's not a player in this tournament who was born in the 90s.
Don't go there.
Franklin only played 2 games last year. This year, a much bigger role on this LSU team that returned 7 starters from last season. Veteran group. Goes down on strikes, the 5th of the day for Ruby Malin, and she shows some emotion after that second out of the 6th. Well, College game day, 8 p.m. Eastern, covered by State Farm. A massive game in women's hoops in prime time on ABC. South Carolina and LSU, 2 teams with legitimate NCAA national championship aspirations. And the Stars will be out in that game. Joyce Edwards, Flau'jae Johnson, they have both been phenomenal for their respective teams this year. 2 down for Kylie Edwards. To third, backing up on it, Davis slings it across the diamond. 5 straight retired for Malin. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Oklahoma State trying to get some runs back. They'll send the top of their order to the plate when we return.
We have serious star power in the circle in this 2026 season. Of course, Nyjah Kennedy being a 2-time National Pitcher of the Year, pitching for Texas Tech in this tournament. Jordy Fromm, formerly Jordy Ball, won a national championship at Oklahoma, now with Nebraska. And then Carlin Pickens, a flamethrower. Remember, she's the pitcher that's thrown the fastest pitch in softball history, 2-time SEC Pitcher of the Year, all at this tournament. And even more senior pitchers. That seems to be such a big theme, not only for this tournament, but for the year. There are great arms in the circle, but those 3 are the big 3 in the circle, the senior star pitchers.
Strike 1 to JL Austin. Top of the lineup here for Oklahoma State. This is the part of the lineup that has done some damage today against CC Soloro. And it continues. Austin's first hit, 2nd time aboard today, setting the table in the 6th.
Big deal day. Have your leadoff hitter up in the 6th inning trying to score some runs, and you get her on, freshman.
Meanwhile, Georgia trying to rebound from a loss to Oklahoma State earlier today, taking on Nebraska, who beat LSU 6-0. Currently airing over on ESPN Plus, top of the 3rd. Over on Field 8. Bunt dropped down in foul territory by Tia Worsup.
You know, it's a great thing about a tournament, Matt, is that you always have a chance for a response. So Georgia lost to Oklahoma State. They are currently responding against Nebraska with that 3-0 lead. LSU got shut out by Nebraska in the first game today, 6-0. And look at their response, putting 5 runs on the board. So in a tournament like this, you're playing 5 or 6 games in a weekend.
Runner was going. They will still get her at second base. That was Austin. 1 down, Worsup safe at first.
These games start to pile up quickly in tournament weekends. It can be a long weekend, especially if you're losing. But if you are able to adjust quickly and respond fast in a doubleheader day that you have in a tournament weekend, those losses you don't remember as much, especially if you turn around and win that second game.
Snap throw from Bergeron. She has remained active behind the plate today for LSU. Such a weapon, in the words of Beth Torina, defensively, shutting down the run game regularly over the last couple of seasons. And very sure-handed, a .995 fielding percentage last year.
And think about how many innings that she caught too. A lot of opportunities for defensive miscues and errors. Ooh, you see Godwin upset with herself letting that one go. That seemed like it was a drop ball that was a little bit up. You saw the way that she reacted wanting that last pitch back.
Flared into left field, and it finds grass off the bat of Godwin. Her second base knock of the day. And again, the middle top portion of this lineup for Oklahoma State doing damage as they did in the fourth.
A 2-strike changeup, just a little bit too up in the zone for a hitter like Godwin. And even though it's not for extra bases, it still is going to advance a runner 60 feet, get herself a hit, and every base runner right now for Oklahoma State just so critical trying to get back into this game.
Top 3 in the Oklahoma State lineup, 4 for 8. Rest of the team 1 for 12 so far today. And Amanda Hassler, who, remember, had that controversial 2 RBI single back in the fourth down the right field line that looked foul but was called fair, digs in with 2 on. And a reminder, there is no video replay this week at Clearwater, so the call on the field will stand regardless of the looks we may show you at home.
Well, and Amanda Hassler has a tie the game potential with the power in her bat. She had come over from North Carolina State, where in 2024 she hit 18 home runs, hit 16 last year for Oklahoma State. Unlimited potential is what Kenny Gajewski had said last year, bringing Amanda Hassler in.
.3-0. And Hassler draws a walk to load the bases with 1 down, and a tying run aboard for Oklahoma State in the 6th.
What a great at-bat by her. I mean, she knows what she is capable of offensively and probably wants to swing the bat, wants to have that big hit, but took several balls in that at-bat to draw the walk to then pass the bat to Wilkinson.
Beth Torina's team coming off that 6-0 defeat earlier today against Nebraska, led in this game 5-0. Gave up those 2 runs in the fourth. CC Salora has been steady for most of this game, but this is the 3rd time through the order, and maybe we are seeing a change here with 1 down and the bases loaded in the 6th. Feels like LSU's had action in the bullpen for each out of the last 3 innings. We just haven't seen the change yet, and I don't think we're going to see one here.
A couple of teases when coach has gone out there, and especially too knowing that she has this deep pitching staff, and Coach Starina had joked about coming in to this season knowing that maybe she's the type of pitching coach at times that has left her starting pitcher in too long, and really wanted to make it a point this season to use this full deep pitching staff to bring different looks in, but opting to go to her old ways and leave Salora in. We'll see how it all pays off.
Taking on Melina Wilkeson, who was 1 for 6 last weekend with 4 runs batted in, despite the fact that just 2 weeks ago she tore her labrum. Played back-to-back days opening weekend. They sat her for the rest of that weekend because of the soreness she was feeling. She could barely move, Kenny Gajewski said. Felt better about where she was at physically coming into this week at Clearwater, but he told us she is the fastest kid I have ever coached.
In fact, I think that he may have even seen her roll her shoulder, maybe asking if she's okay, maybe just wanting to talk about this 0-2 count that she finds herself in and something to look for. But we were just talking about that injury that she had faced, and you saw after that swing her kind of rolling her shoulder. This is a really critical at bat. You want to do something productive even in this 0-2 count with the bases loaded, less than 2 outs. There's her big swing, and see this left shoulder right here.
Oh, 2 from Salora. Wilkeson puts it in play, and they will not turn 2. Another run batted in for Wilkeson, and it is a productive out to make it a 5-3 game.
The next batter is the third baseman, Rosie Davis.
And now the tying run at first in the form of the speedy Melina Wilkeson as Rosie Davis digs in.
Rosie Davis off to a little bit slow of a start with that 111 batting average on the year. Didn't have the opening weekend that she necessarily wanted. And she's best friends actually with Carly Godwin, who Kenny Gajewski said that didn't quite have the opening weekend that either of them wanted, but they were so good in the dugout, staying in it, process-oriented, being leaders for this team, knowing that it's a long season, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But a player, and she's just a junior, Rosie Davis is, but she has been so clutch with so many game-winning hits in her career already, her freshman and sophomore years.
Popped up right side of the infield. Sierra Daniel will put it away. Oklahoma State still hitless with 2 outs in this game. They do get another run, down 2 as we head to the 7th. Take a look at today's impact player, brought to you by Visit St. Pete Clearwater. Tori Edwards.
Hit a home run to lead off the top of the 2nd inning. That got LSU on the board first. A solo shot for her that went seemingly a mile, and then 2 RBIs on that swing with a line drive up the middle of the field. Tori Edwards, who struck out 2 times in their opening game against Nebraska as LSU got shut out, said, "Not today, we are not getting shut out." 3 RBIs for her in her sophomore season after a terrific freshman campaign.
Leading off for the Tigers, the designated hitter, Riley Johnson.
Ruby Malin still pitching in this game despite taking a ball off the chest, neck, chin area. She was trying to deflect it. Didn't really look like she did. Took a beat a couple of innings ago, finished that inning, and has actually been terrific since she set down the last 5 batters she has faced. After that inning, taking the ball off the bat of Sierra Daniel.
You can tell already early in this season how much that Oklahoma State is going to lean on Ruby Malin. Opening weekend, she appeared in 3 out of the 5 games, pitched the most innings. She pitched 12 innings, had 14 strikeouts. And last season, went 21-10 on the season, but had 16 complete games. So this is a pitcher that can take quite a high workload, and she's done that throughout her career. And I mean, Kenny Gajewski just raves about how she takes care of her body, the way that she fuels her body and nutrition, really tracks her sleep, just is very serious about taking her game to a next level and giving her best in all aspects of her day to her team.
Some changes for Kenny Gajewski here. Melina Wilkeson will move from left field to right field. Tia Warsup will move from right to left. We'll tell you about the other changes in a moment, but first, major ABC doubleheader in women's hoops on Sunday afternoon. Duke, Carolina, which if you missed the men's version of that rivalry, boy, you missed out. This one figures to be equally as entertaining, 2 top 25 teams. And then Texas and Tennessee, both play an exciting brand of basketball, both in action on Sunday over on ABC. Riley Johnson leads it off in the 7th for LSU, batting in the 7th spot.
They're pretty efficient too. Look at Ruby's pitch count, just 99 pitches headed into this 7th inning, and that's with a really long 3rd inning where she threw over 30 pitches. So you take out that inning, a couple of mistakes that were made in that inning, including an error by her, the walk hit by pitch to start off the inning with the 8-9 hitters. Just really tough inning for them, and this Oklahoma State team still trying to recover from that inning where they gave up 4 runs.
One-two upstairs. LSU suffering its first setback of the season earlier this afternoon. Were blanked against Nebraska. That's one of the beauties of this tournament. Your very next game, likely a top 25 game, and a chance to immediately rebound and right some of the wrongs. Beth Torina told us earlier in this game during our in-game interview that she didn't like the effort from her team, that it wasn't up to the Tiger standard. They've played with great effort in this game and resilience.
And LSU will play 6 games here. They'll play through Sunday. Oftentimes the team will take 3 of the 4 days to play their games, but LSU, they're going to play Duke, Florida State tomorrow, and then UCF on Saturday and UCLA on Sunday. So a tough schedule for them. There's no easy schedule here at the Clearwater Invitational at all. But I think Oklahoma State takes the cake with their schedule, having to play Georgia, LSU, A&M, UCLA, and Duke, all of them top 20 teams.
Bench running for the Tigers, number 33, Destiny Harris.
Meanwhile, Destiny Harris into pinch hit. Speaking of top 20 teams, Nyjah Kennedy and number 1 Texas Tech. one game away from winning their first national championship last year. Will be in action later on tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. We will have them against Northwestern. Great early season test for the Wildcats.
Let's see who's going to pitch. Nyjah Kennedy did not start in their game against Florida State. Caitlin Terry, the transfer from UCLA, did, and Nyjah came in relief, got the save. Maybe we'll see Sam Lincoln, another lefty on staff for Texas Tech, with possible Nyjah being in relief, or maybe Nyjah will get the start.
Strike 2 to Jayla Lassiter at the top of the order. Jerry Glasgow didn't want to tip his cards to us too much in the call this week, but did mention the fact that they spent a lot of time in rest and recovery this fall as that ball gets away from Audrey Schneidmiller. And now a runner in scoring position for LSU for the first time since the third inning. Destiny Harris pinch running for Riley Johnson. Line drive off the glove of Rosie Davis into left field. Here comes Harris. Throw in is in time. What a rope by Tia Warsop to keep the run off the board for LSU.
Talked about Tia Warsop earlier offensively, but you can put her anywhere defensively too. She started the game in right field, they moved her to left field, and she is ready to make this play, knowing LSU likes to push the envelope on the base pass. Absolute perfect throw, and might I dare say perfect setup by Audrey Schneidmiller, the catcher, to avoid obstruction. The obstruction call is all about the setup, but look at where she's set up in the perfect position to be able to apply that tag, because that throw was on the money. Tia Warsop, it just does not get much better than that. Being able to do or die with the glove, make the one-hopper home, the tag, the out. Unbelievable defensive play. Oklahoma State's defense up to this point in the season, it's just the second weekend, but they have been so sharp. Only committed one error opening weekend, and then the error today by Ruby Malin with the throwing error, but man, they have been on it.
Really, that error by Ruby Malin is the difference in this game. She's pitched very well since to keep this a two-run game, and plays like that from Tia Warsop. Records the first out of the inning, keeps LSU from making the three-run game. Daniel, her fifth hit of the day, will make it a three-run game as Lassiter is in to score on an RBI triple by Sierra Daniel. Great piece of hitting in the two-hole for the Tigers.
And look at her hands to go outside and get her barreled to that pitch. Great posture, just barrel it up toward the right center field gap. And as a lefty with speed, as soon as she sees that hit the grass and go to the fence, she is thinking, this is a triple all day for me with her speed and the speed all throughout this LSU order. Such great athletes that can hit for a little bit of pop, but the second triple of the season already for Sierra Daniel, this second weekend of play.
Carrie Eberly, the pitching coach for Oklahoma State, out of the dugout to chat with Ruby Malin. This is the meat of the order for LSU. Tori Edwards on deck behind Allie Hutchins. And Malin will exit in the seventh. We will step aside for the pitching change. Back after this, a 6-3 lead for LSU. Really gritty performance. Took a ball off the neck, chin area a couple of innings ago, stayed in the game, gutted it out, went 6 1/3. 6 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. And that last RBI triple by Sierra Daniel, knocking Malin out of the game in the seventh. And now the freshman Presley Downing comes in for Oklahoma State.
Excited to see this freshman throw. And remember too that Ruby Malin came into relief against Georgia in the first game. So she's thrown close to 200 pitches today in a relief outing and then going deep into this game. But Presley Downing, the freshman, her go-to is going to be her curveball. Doesn't use a ton of that changeup, uses it sparingly.
0-1 to Hutchins, fouled away.
But 174 total pitches for Ruby Malin today. She takes care of her body throughout the week, and in the off season allows her, this is just the second weekend of the season, to be prepared to take on that high number of pitches. And she's a fighter, wants the ball at any given time.
Sierra Daniel hanging out over at third base. Ton of speed there. Ball on the ground. You might see her test this Oklahoma State infield, which is drawn in with just the lone out. 1-2 from Downing. Is through into right field and will drive in another. 7-3 Tigers.
Such a good piece of hitting by Allie Hutchins. Seeing some great swings and approaches from this LSU team. Keeps her barrel on top of that curveball that just gets up to the top end of the zone. And beautiful swing to stay on plane with it, drive it to the right side. Castillo, the second baseman, playing up the middle of the field, not more toward the right side, toward her first baseman, and opened up an even bigger hole on the right side.
A 1 count to Tori Edwards. Our impact player. Rolls it into right field. First to third goes Hutchins. And Edwards continues her monster impact on this game. 3 hits for the reigning SEC Freshman of the Year.
Look at the defensive positioning again for Oklahoma State, playing so far off of the line and more toward the middle of the field, and that hit was off the end of the bat, probably 40 miles an hour off of Tori Edwards' bat, but she just finds a hole on the right side. When you're feeling it, you are feeling it. Another time here where Yaquez is playing off the line over at first base.
Came in for Carly Godwin at the beginning of this inning.
Actually, I think Godwin is
back in.
Godwin is still back in. There were a lot of defensive changes and things happening in between innings that we were trying to keep up with. I don't know what was happening. We got some changes that didn't necessarily happen.
Coaches from both sides on the field.
Especially
such is life at Clearwater.
In pre-conference tournaments, you're all about trying some different people out, seeing what people are going to give you defensively and offensively.
Meanwhile, though, those 3 hits by Edwards ties a career high for a single game. Did it 6 times last year. Was one of the most dangerous hitters in the country as a freshman. Passing the bat here to Macy Badgeron. Searching for her first hit. Rolls it to short, and it eats up Aubrey Jones. 8-3 Tigers.
Be some tough hops on this field. Charges it, and that last one just snuck up the heel of her glove as she is definitely concerned about that runner at third base, charging that slow roller hard. Freshman there at shortstop for Oklahoma State that Kenny Gajewski is very excited about. Her range, her arm, all the things defensively.
Well, now 2 on and still just the 1 out for Char Lorenz. An all-ACC performer as a freshman last year at Louisville. Looks at ball 1. So much power, speed in this LSU lineup, which from top to bottom will threaten you whether you're in the circle or out in the field defensively. Fly ball to Wilkeson, makes the catch. And a tag of second to third by Tori Edwards. Badgeron back to the bag safely at first, 2 away.
As Tarina said, this LSU lineup and roster is just one of the deepest lineups that they've ever had. They had that push offensively to add some power and I think big questions coming into this offensive season for LSU was who was going to lead off and play third base for them. Remember, Danica Coffey, third baseman, epic leadoff hitter for LSU that had so much success. Graduated last season, so you're seeing them still try to figure it out over at third base. I think there's still going to be some competition at that third base position, but Jayla Lassiter settling in nicely as a leadoff hitter for LSU. Even had a walk-off home run against NC State last weekend.
Runner goes, and now caught in a rundown is Bajaran. In to score Edwards. Bajaran is safe at second base. Now, you talked about the elite base running of LSU. We certainly saw it last year, and there, eliciting a throw from Audrey Schneidmiller, allowing Edwards to score.
Yeah, it's actually Maddox McKee out there who's a pinch runner. And again, base running is something LSU takes pride in. They've practiced this first and third play of seeing that throw go through, try to get caught in a rundown if you're that runner at first base to be able to score that runner from third base. That's exactly what LSU wanted to have happen. It might look like, oh, Maddox McKee, like she did the wrong thing. She got in a rundown, but that is a play that they have planned for her to see that throw go through to second base, put on the brakes, get in a rundown, and score that run from third base.
1-2 count out to Alex Franklin. This started as a 5-3 lead in the 7th. LSU has plated 4. And they lead it by 6 as we head to the final half inning. Bottom 3 in the order due up for Oklahoma State. Preseason top 25 teams this year, including LSU and Oklahoma State. 4-run 6th for the Tigers, giving CC Salora plenty of insurance here as she tries to go for a complete game victory against an Oklahoma State team that last year had some 7th inning magic. Scored 4 runs against A&M in the 7th inning, won 6-5. Scored 3 against Bama, won that 4-3. Down to their final 2 outs, however, here against Oklahoma State after the fly ball by Audrey Schneidmiller.
Well, there have been a couple of times in this game where we thought that Coach Torino was going to make a pitching change and pull Salora, but opted to leave her in. She's going for the complete game, and a really deep pitching staff that LSU has this year, a ton of different options, but Coach Torino just knowing her pitchers and probably communicating to Salora about making some adjustments, an experienced pitcher. And she's been able to hang around in this game. And I feel like in this day and age, it's a badge of honor to throw a complete game with how much coaches are using pitching staff. Salora has been able to work through this game and only an 89 pitch count currently.
You called her earlier in this game a throwback type of pitcher. Somebody that, showed it a lot last year and the year before that at San Diego State, regularly relied upon to pitch the majority of the innings in their runs through the Mountain West tournament to make an NCAA regional, and was always up to the task.
And even Peyton Monticelli, who transferred from OU, she started her career at Wisconsin. She threw a complete game last weekend, and Matt, the last time that Peyton Monticelli had thrown a complete game was in 2023, a complete 7-inning game. I believe it was February of 2023. So again, Coach Serena not using the full staff, letting her pitchers throw those complete games, but having the confidence in them to go the distance to try to get the dub. It really sets them up for the rest of the weekend too, just to have some fresh, rested arms ready for their rest of their 4 games that they'll have. They'll play 2 tomorrow, 1 on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday. We're here in Clearwater for a while.
We will see them tomorrow for one of a handful of games. Duke, LSU on ESPN Plus, 3:30. And then we will see them again against UCLA on Sunday for the early game, 9 Central. Four ranked matchups for LSU in this tournament. It's a good opportunity to see where this program is at after the way last season ended. Beth Torina talked about some of the changes that they underwent as a staff, as a program, as a leadership group amongst the players on the team, and just a hunger, really, program-wide coming into this season after being upset on their home field against Southeast Louisiana. Stunned to not even, Amanda, make the regional final in Baton Rouge last year. 7 starters from that team returning, a couple of pitchers. Jaden Heavner, who got the start against Nebraska earlier today.
And a young staff that Beth Torina has here at LSU has challenged her and kind of pushed her to do some things differently and maybe get a little bit uncomfortable and put in the work in the off season to bring in some new players, maybe look at things a little bit differently. Remember, she's not coaching third base this year, just all kinds of small wrinkles. Make some changes.
Off the bat of Jones and off the wall. Aubrey Jones gliding into second base with a 1-out double.
What a beautiful swing by Aubrey Jones. Goes with, looks like an outside drop ball. It's a little bit elevated, but just lets that pitch or deep into her window and in the air. That had extra bases written all over it. Aubrey Jones has a great glove defensively for this Oklahoma State team, and if they can get some offensive production from her, they would absolutely love it. The way that she plays D and swings about like that would be a star.
Kaya Booker pinch hitting here in the 9 spot for Gabby Castillo. One down and one on in the 7th, a 6-run deficit for Oklahoma State. Booker transferring over in the offseason from Georgia Tech. Did not play last year, going through some injuries, got a medical red shirt, looked for a change of scenery in the offseason and has found it in Stillwater.
Coach Kajewski said about Booker that she's walked in here with a great mentality and a great attitude, and she's been like a piece of clay. Just really moldable, coachable, just wants to do whatever it takes to be great. Great work ethic, and she's a great hitter. He said she is going to play here. And an opportunity here with the runner in scoring position late in this game.
Down to the count, 1-2. Goes down swinging. 2 outs in the 7th. third strikeout of the game for Soloro. And 6 games highlight a big day on ESPN, including these 3 marquee matchups. Top 20 in the Big 12. Gonzaga trying to rebound. Remember, they were upset last week against Portland State. They will take on Santa Clara in the nightcap on Saturday on ESPN. Oklahoma State down to its final out. J.L. Austin back at the top of the order for the Cowgirls. Fly ball into left field. Back on it is off the wall, and that will score a run to keep this game going. J.L. Austin with an RBI double. 3rd time aboard for the starting center fielder of Oklahoma State.
J.L. Austin is going to be so good. Opposite field power like this. Left fielders have struggled with fly balls off of left-handed batters' bats opening weekend and even here this weekend. Just a bit of a misread there by Lorenz, a catchable ball, but still the power of Austin squaring up some things.
And Tori Edwards scoops that up. 4th career complete game for CC Solora. And LSU hangs on. It got tight for a second. They led 5-0 to start. Oklahoma State then scored the next 3 runs, but Beth Tarina's team, Amanda, gets a nice rebound after losing earlier today in a shutout to Nebraska.
Just continuing to find different ways to win like they did opening weekend, and a great rebound after getting shut out.
Well, don't go anywhere. Over on ESPN Plus, 6 o'clock Eastern, we'll have the reigning national runners-up Texas Tech Red Raiders taking on Northwestern. For Amanda Scarborough, our entire ESPN crew, Matt Schumacher saying so long for now from Clearwater. We send you to NFL Live next.